The music was loud, but not happy loud. It was the kind of loud people use to cover silence. Balloons filled the living room, pink and gold, rubbing against the ceiling fan. A big banner on the wall read, "Happy 85th birthday, Grandma," in shiny letters that kept peeling off at the corners. Everyone was smiling. Too much. I stood beside Grandma, holding her thin hand while she sat in her favorite chair. Her skin felt like warm paper. She smiled up at me, slow and sweet. "Am I really 85?" she asked for the third time that day. "Yes, Grandma," I said gently. 85 and still bossing us around. She laughed, then coughed, then laughed again. I adjusted the shawl on her shoulders. My sister had chosen it bright red, a little too bold for Grandma. But my sister liked bold things. She liked attention. The house was full. Church friends, neighbors, cousins I hadn't seen in years. My dad moved through the crowd like a manager, fixing chairs, lowering voices, correcting small things that didn't matter. "Don't block the hallway," he snapped at one guest. "Not that tablecloth. Use the clean one," he told my sister. Everything had to look perfect. My husband stood near the wall, quiet, like always. He wasn't much for parties, but he came because he loved Grandma and because he loved me. His eyes moved slowly around the room, not in a rude way, just watching. I caught his eye and smiled. He didn't smile back right away. That was the first small thing I noticed. The second was how my sister kept checking her phone, then looking at Grandma, then at my dad, again and again, like she was waiting for something. I brushed it off. Big parties made people strange. "Come, let's take pictures," my sister called out loudly. "Before Grandma gets tired." People rushed in. Cameras came out. Grandma was lifted, turned, told to smile. Flash after flash. My husband stepped closer to me. I thought he wanted to be in the picture. Instead, he leaned down, close to my ear. So close his breath touched my skin. "Get your bag," he whispered. "We're leaving. Act like nothing's wrong." I froze. "What?" I whispered back, still smiling for the camera. "Please," he said softly. "Just do it." The camera flashed again. Someone laughed. Grandma blinked, confused. I pulled back slightly and looked at my husband. His face was calm, but his eyes were not. They were sharp, focused, scared. "Now?" I whispered. "Are you serious?" "Yes." My heart started beating faster. "Why?" "I'll explain in the car." I forced a laugh as someone made a joke behind us. I stepped away like everything was normal. Inside my head, everything was not normal. Leaving now would be rude. My dad would be angry. My sister would make it a big deal. People would talk. And for what? A feeling? I walked toward the bedroom where my bag was, trying to stay calm. As I passed the hallway, I noticed the door to my dad's study was closed. That door was always open during parties. Always. I shook my head. "Stop it," I told myself. "You're overthinking." In the bedroom, I grabbed my bag. My phone buzzed in my hand. A message from my sister. "Where are you going?" I hadn't told her anything. I typed back quickly. "Bathroom." Another buzz, almost right away. "Don't take long. We're about to do something important." Important? My stomach tightened. I went back to the living room. My husband was already near the front door, talking to a guest, smiling politely. He looked normal to everyone else. Only I could see the tension in his shoulders. "Leaving so soon?" my dad asked when he noticed us. "Yes," my husband said calmly. "She's not feeling well." My dad's eyes moved to me, sharp and quick. "You look fine." "I'm just tired," I said. It was the truth now. My sister stepped closer. "You can rest here. Grandma hasn't even cut the cake." "I'll call her later," I said. "I promise." Grandma looked at me, confused again. "You're leaving?" I bent down and kissed her cheek. "I'll see you tomorrow, Grandma." She smiled, then frowned. "All right. Don't forget your coat." "I won't." As we stepped outside, the noise of the party dropped behind us. The air felt cooler, quieter. My chest felt tight, like I had been holding my breath without knowing it. We walked to the car. I wanted to ask questions, but my husband opened my door quickly and waited until I was inside. The moment his door shut, he locked the car. Click. The sound was loud in the quiet street. He didn't start the engine right away. He just sat there, hands on the wheel. "Okay," I said, my voice shaking despite my effort. "What is going on?" He turned to me. "Something's very, very wrong." I stared at him. "That's it?" I said. "That's why we left my grandma's birthday?" "I heard things," he said. "Things I wasn't meant to hear." My phone buzzed again. This time it was my dad calling. I didn't answer. "What things?" I asked. "Not here," he said, starting the car. "Not yet." We drove away from the house, the music fading behind us. My phone buzzed again. My sister this time. Then again, I watched the house disappear in the side mirror. The balloons, the lights, the banner, a birthday party, a normal family day. Except it didn't feel normal anymore. As we turned onto the main road, I looked at my husband's face again. I had known him for years. I had seen him angry, tired, even afraid once when we had a car accident. I had never seen this look before. Careful, alert, like he was trying to protect something fragile. Or someone. "Did I do something wrong?" I asked quietly. "No," he said at once. "You did exactly what you needed to do." That didn't make me feel better. My phone stopped buzzing. The silence felt heavy. Behind us, the party went on without us. Cake would be cut. Photos would be taken. Smiles would stay fixed. And somewhere inside that house, something I didn't understand yet was still happening. I leaned back in my seat, my heart still racing, and tried to breathe. I didn't know it yet, but this was the moment everything began to change. The car moved smoothly down the road, but my thoughts were crashing into each other. Streetlights passed one by one, lighting my husband's face for seconds at a time. Each time, he looked just as serious. "Can you please tell me what's going on now?" I asked. "You're scaring me." "I know," he said quietly. "I'm scared too." That made my chest feel tight. My husband was not someone who scared easily. He was the type who stayed calm during storms, during money problems, during family fights. Hearing fear in his voice made everything heavier. He turned onto a quieter street and finally slowed the car. He didn't park yet, just drove slowly, like he was buying time. "At the party," he began, "I went to look for you. You weren't near Grandma anymore, so I walked down the hallway." I nodded. "I went to get my bag." "I know. When I passed your dad's study, the door was slightly open." My heart skipped. "You said it was closed." "It looked closed from the living room, but it wasn't fully shut." I swallowed. "Okay, I heard your sister's voice first," he continued. "She was talking fast, angry." "About what?" "About timing. About things needing to be finished tonight." I stared at him. "Finished?" "Yes. Then your dad said something like, 'Once the guests are gone, it'll be easier.'" My hands slowly curled into fists on my lap. "Easier to do what?" "That's the problem," he said. They didn't say it clearly, but they were talking about Grandma like she wasn't a person, like she was a problem they needed to solve. I shook my head hard. "No, that doesn't make sense. My sister can be difficult, but she loves Grandma. My dad, too." "I thought the same thing," he said. "That's why I kept listening. I didn't like where this was going." "They mentioned papers," he said, "and signatures, and how Grandma wouldn't remember later anyway." I felt sick. "That's not possible," I whispered. "Grandma's forgetful sometimes, but she trusts them," he said. "And that makes her vulnerable." The word hung in the air between us. Vulnerable. My phone buzzed again. I looked down. A message from my sister. "Why did you leave? Dad is upset. I didn't reply. Why didn't you confront them? I asked. Why not ask what they meant? Because I wasn't supposed to hear it, he said. And because when I leaned closer, your dad lowered his voice and said, make sure she doesn't talk to anyone alone. My breath caught. Anyone? Yes, anyone. The car stopped at a red light. My husband's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's when I knew we had to leave, he said. I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I knew it wasn't right. I stared straight ahead. The light turned green, but the world felt frozen. You think they're trying to trick Grandma into signing something, I said slowly. I think they already did, he replied. Or they're planning to. I pressed my hand against my chest, like that might slow my heart. What kind of papers? I asked. I don't know, he said. But I saw a folder. Thick. Yellow. Your sister was holding it. A memory flashed in my mind, my sister rushing Grandma away earlier, saying she needed fresh air. The folder tucked under her arm. At the time, I thought nothing of it. I should have stayed, I whispered. I should have watched more closely. You did nothing wrong, he said firmly. You trusted your family. That's normal. The word family felt strange now. We drove in silence for a few minutes. My phone rang again. This time it was my dad. I let it ring. He's going to keep calling, my husband said. I know. He might come after us. That made me turn. What do you mean, come after us? Not chase us, he said quickly, but pressure you, make you feel guilty, make you doubt yourself. He was right. My dad was good at that. My phone buzzed with a new message. You embarrassed us. Guests are asking questions. I laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. This is what he cares about, I said. Embarrassment. My husband parked the car in a small, empty lot near a closed store. He turned off the engine. The sudden quiet felt loud. Look at this, he said, pulling out his phone. He showed me a picture. It was blurry, taken from far away. I could still recognize my sister's handwriting on the folder, and Grandma's shaky signature at the bottom of one page. My throat tightened. When did you take this? Earlier, he said, when she stepped away for a moment. You took a picture of my sister's papers? I asked, half shocked. I wasn't sure I should, he said, but something felt off. I studied the image. I couldn't read the words, but the signature was clear. Grandma's name. Did Grandma know what she was signing? I whispered. I don't think so, he said. My hands began to shake. I dropped my phone into my bag without noticing. Why would they do this at her birthday? I asked. Why today? Because everyone was here, he said. Because it looked harmless. And because Grandma was tired. I thought of her asking me if she was really 85, of how she smiled even when she didn't understand. She trusts them, I said again. She trusts us. That's why we can't ignore this, he said gently. My phone buzzed once more. This time it was a message from a cousin. Is everything okay? Your dad looks angry. I typed back slowly. We had to leave. I'll explain later. I didn't know if I would. What do we do now? I asked. For now, we wait, my husband said. We think. We don't accuse anyone yet. Waiting feels wrong, I said. I know, but reacting too fast could make things worse. I looked out the window. The parking lot lights flickered. Somewhere far away, a dog barked. I keep thinking about Grandma sitting there, I said, smiling, not knowing anything. My husband reached over and took my hand. His grip was steady. We won't let anything happen to her, he said. I wanted to believe him. My phone buzzed again. This time, a message from my sister that made my stomach drop. Grandma is resting now. Please stop causing trouble. Resting. At a loud party. With so many people. I looked at my husband. I don't like that message. I don't either, he said. I tried calling Grandma. It rang and rang. No answer. The silence on the line felt heavier than any shouting could have. "She always answers," I whispered. My husband nodded. That's what I was afraid of. I stared at the dark screen of my phone. The truth was still unclear. But one thing was certain now. This wasn't just about papers. This was about control. And Grandma was alone in a house full of people who might not be protecting her at all. The phone felt heavy in my hand after Grandma didn't answer. I stared at the dark screen like it might suddenly light up on its own. It didn't. "She always answers," I said again, softer this time, like saying it quietly might make it true. My husband didn't rush to fill the silence. He just sat there with me, his hand still holding mine. The parking lot was empty, and the night felt too wide, like it was listening. "Let's try again," I said. I called Grandma once more. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. Her recorded voice sounded cheerful and old, nothing like how I felt inside. I hung up and swallowed hard. "Okay," I said, forcing myself to breathe. "Okay, tell me everything. Don't protect me. Don't soften it. I need to understand." He nodded slowly. "All right." He leaned back in his seat and looked up at the windshield, like he was choosing his words carefully. "When your sister rushed Grandma to the back earlier," he said. I followed a few minutes later. I told myself I was just checking if she was okay. I remembered that moment. My sister had smiled too wide and said Grandma needed quiet. I believed her. "I heard your sister again," he continued. "She was calmer this time. Too calm," she said. "Just sign here, Mama. It's only a form saying we can help you." My chest tightened. "And Grandma?" I asked. "She asked questions," he said. "Slow questions. She asked if it was about the party, about her medicine, about you." I closed my eyes. "Your sister kept answering, but not really answering," he went on. "She said things like, 'Don't worry,' and 'We'll handle everything.' That's how she talks when she wants her way," I whispered. "I know," he said. "That's why I stayed." I pictured it clearly now. Grandma sitting at a table, glasses slipping down her nose, pen in her hand, my sister standing too close, my dad nearby, quiet, watching. "So when you whispered to me," I said, "you already knew?" "I suspected," he said. "But then your dad said something that removed all doubt." I opened my eyes. "What did he say?" he said. "Once this is done, we won't have to worry anymore." My stomach dropped. "That doesn't sound like love," I said. "No," my husband agreed. "It sounded like relief." Relief from what? From caring for her? From responsibility? From her existence? The thought made my throat burn. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. "Why didn't I see it?" I asked. "I was right there." "Because you were being a good granddaughter," he said. "You were helping her, laughing with her, trusting the people you grew up with." I shook my head. "Trust feels stupid now." "It's not stupid," he said gently. "It's human." My phone buzzed again. Another message from my dad. "Come back. You're making this worse than it is." "Worse than it is." I laughed softly, then stopped because tears came instead. "He's acting like I spilled a drink," I said. "Like this is nothing." "That's how control works," my husband said. "Make the problem seem small. Make you feel dramatic." I wiped my face with my sleeve. "So what are they trying to do? Take her house? Her money?" "I don't know," he said honestly. "But whatever it is, it benefits them, not her." That was the moment something shifted inside me. Up until then, part of me had still hoped this was all a misunderstanding, that my husband had misheard, that my sister was just being bossy, that my dad was just stressed. But the pieces didn't fit anymore. The closed study door, the folder, the rushed signatures, the way Grandma couldn't answer her phone. It all pointed in one direction. "Grandma told me something last month," I said slowly. My husband turned to me. "What?" She said she felt like people were making decisions for her, I said. She laughed when she said it, like it was a joke. I laughed too. I felt sick saying it out loud now. She said your sister told her not to worry about bills anymore, I continued. That everything was taken care of. My husband was quiet, listening. I thought it was kindness, I said. Now it sounds like control. Yes, he said. That's exactly what it sounds like. I leaned back against the seat and stared at the ceiling of the car. My head hurt. My heart hurt more. What if we're wrong? I asked. What if we accuse them and destroy the family over nothing? My husband didn't answer right away. That's the risk, he said finally. And it's a real one. The word risk echoed in my mind. But what if we're right? He added. What if staying quiet lets something happen that can't be undone? I pictured Grandma again. Her soft laugh. The way she always saved candy for me, even as an adult. The way she trusted us with everything. I sat up straighter. If someone tricked her, I said, my voice steadier now. I can't forgive myself for staying silent. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was my sister. Stop this. You're upsetting Dad. Grandma doesn't need drama. I stared at the message, my hands no longer shaking. She's trying to silence me, I said. Yes, my husband replied. Because silence helps them. I typed back slowly. I just want to talk to Grandma. Please let me speak to her. The message showed as read. No reply. Minutes passed. Nothing. My heart began to pound again. But this time it felt different. Sharper. Clearer. They won't let me talk to her, I said. My husband nodded. That tells us a lot. I took a deep breath. If Grandma were okay, they'd hand her the phone. Exactly. I looked out the window at the dark street. Somewhere, people were still laughing at the party, still eating cake, still pretending everything was fine. I used to think danger was loud, I said. Shouting, fighting, obvious. My husband glanced at me. But this, I continued, this is quiet, smiling, polite. That's the most dangerous kind, he said. I nodded slowly. Another memory surfaced. My sister once joked, old people don't need all that money anyway. We had all laughed. Even Grandma. I didn't laugh now. I don't think they see her as a person anymore, I said. I think they see her as a problem. My husband's jaw tightened. That's what scared me most. I took another deep breath and let it out slowly. Okay, I said. Okay. So here's what we know. I started counting on my fingers. 1. Grandma may have signed something she didn't understand. Yes. 2. They don't want her talking to anyone alone. Yes. 3. They're trying to make me feel guilty, so I'll back off. Yes. I dropped my hand. And 4, I said quietly. No one is thinking about what Grandma actually wants. My husband looked at me, and I saw something like pride in his eyes. You're thinking clearly now, he said. I don't feel clear, I admitted. I feel angry and scared. Both are useful, he said. If you don't let them control you. I looked at my phone again. No new messages. No calls. Waiting feels wrong, I said again. But this time it wasn't panic talking. It was resolve. What do you want to do? My husband asked. I thought about my dad's voice, my sister's smile, Grandma's confused eyes. I want to protect her, I said. Even if it means people get mad at me. My husband nodded slowly. That may happen. I know, I said. But I can live with anger. I can't live with regret. He reached over and squeezed my hand. Then we take the next step, he said. I looked at him. What step? He didn't answer right away. He just met my eyes, serious and calm. One that makes sure someone neutral is watching, he said. The meaning settled in my chest, heavy but clear. I swallowed. For the first time that night, I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was choosing. And once that choice was made, there was no going back. The words my husband had just said stayed between us, heavy and real. Someone neutral, I repeated softly. He nodded. Someone who isn't part of the family. Someone who can't be guilted or pressured. I knew exactly who he meant. I just wasn't ready to say it yet. My phone buzzed again before I could speak. Another message from my dad. Come home now. You're overreacting. We'll talk like adults. Talk like adults. I looked at the screen for a long moment. My hands were steady now, even though my heart was not. Funny how they only want to talk when I leave, I said. My husband watched me closely. You don't have to decide this second. Yes, I said. I do. I unlocked my phone and opened my call list. Grandma's name was still there at the top. I tried one more time, even though I already knew. It rang and rang, then stopped. I let my hand fall into my lap. That's it, I said quietly. My husband didn't argue. He didn't push. He just waited. I took a deep breath and opened the phone app again. My thumb hovered over the keypad. For a second, I felt like a little girl again, afraid of getting in trouble, afraid of disappointing my father, afraid of being called dramatic. I thought of Grandma asking me if she was really 85. I pressed the numbers. The line rang once before someone answered. Emergency services. What is your situation? My voice came out calm, even though my chest felt tight. Hello. I'm calling because I'm worried about my grandmother. She's elderly, and I believe she may be being pressured into signing documents she doesn't understand. There was a pause. Then, can you tell me where she is right now? Yes, I said, giving the address. There's a family gathering happening. I left because I felt something wasn't right. The operator asked me questions, simple ones. Grandma's age, her health, who lived with her, who was present. I answered carefully. Honestly. Has your grandmother asked for help? The operator asked. She doesn't know she needs to, I said. That's what scares me. My husband placed a hand on my back. I hadn't realized I was leaning forward, tense. We're going to send officers to check on her welfare, the operator said. Please stay available. I ended the call and set the phone down slowly. There. It was done. I sat back in my seat, suddenly exhausted. I just called the police on my own family, I said. You called for your grandmother, my husband corrected. The difference mattered. My phone buzzed almost immediately, like they felt it somehow. A message from my sister. What did you do? My stomach flipped. She knows, I said. My dad called right after. I didn't answer. Then another message. Are you trying to ruin this family? I stared at the words. Ruin this family. I thought of Grandma alone in that house, surrounded by people smiling too much. If protecting her ruins things, I said slowly, then maybe things were already broken. My husband nodded. Minutes passed. Each one felt stretched thin. The parking lot lights hummed above us. I imagined police cars pulling up to the house, guests whispering, my dad's face going red with anger. My sister putting on her innocent voice. My phone rang again. This time, I answered. What did you tell them? My sister demanded. I told the truth, I said. You had no right, she snapped. You don't even know what you heard. I know Grandma didn't answer her phone, I replied. I know she was asked to sign papers she didn't understand. Silence on the line. Then she laughed, sharp and short. You're being ridiculous. Put Grandma on the phone, I said. She's resting. At a party? She was tired. Then let me hear her voice, I said. Another pause. Longer this time. I'm not doing this with you, she said. Dad is furious. I don't care, I said. And I realized it was true. I ended the call. My hands shook after, but not from fear, from release. A new message came in, this one from a cousin. Police just arrived. What's going on? My heart pounded. They're there, I whispered. We waited. I checked the time. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. My phone buzzed again. This time, a number I didn't recognize. "Hello?" I answered. "This is Officer Daniels," a calm voice said. "Are you the granddaughter who called?" "Yes," I said quickly. "Is my grandmother okay?" "She's safe," he said. "We're speaking with her now." I closed my eyes. "Thank you. We do need to ask you a few more questions," he continued. "There are some documents here she seems confused about." My chest tightened again, but this time with relief mixed with fear. "I can answer whatever you need," I said. After the call ended, I leaned back and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. My husband smiled faintly. "You did the right thing." "I hope so," I said. The phone buzzed again. This time, my dad. I answered before I could stop myself. "What have you done?" he shouted. "Do you know how this looks?" "How it looks," I repeated. "You're worried about how it looks?" "You humiliated us," he said, "in front of everyone." "What about Grandma?" I asked. "What about her understanding what she was signing?" "She agreed," he snapped. "She trusts us." "That's exactly why this is wrong," I said quietly. He went silent. Then, in a lower voice, "You've crossed a line." "No," I said. "I saw one." I ended the call. For the first time that night, I felt taller, stronger, like I had stepped out of a shadow I didn't know I was living in. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from the officer. "We'll be staying a while longer to make sure everything is clear. Your grandmother asked for you." My throat tightened. "She asked for me," I whispered. My husband squeezed my hand. We sat there in the quiet car, knowing nothing would ever be the same again. The party was over, even if the music was still playing. And whatever came next, anger, blame, silence, I knew one thing for sure. Grandma was no longer alone. The words, "Your grandmother asked for you," stayed on my screen long after I read them. I stared at the message like it might disappear if I blinked. "She wants me," I said softly. My husband nodded. "Then we should go." We didn't rush. That surprised me. I thought my body would jump into panic, but instead, I felt steady. Like something inside me had finally settled into place. The drive back felt different from the drive away. The streets were the same, the night was the same, but I wasn't guessing anymore. I wasn't doubting my instincts. I was certain. As we turned onto my dad's street, I saw the lights first, red and blue, flashing quietly against the houses. A few guests stood outside, whispering in small groups. The music inside had stopped. The party was over. My husband parked a little distance away. "I'll stay close," he said. "But I'll let you lead." I squeezed his hand before stepping out of the car. The night air felt cool on my face. When I walked up the driveway, my sister saw me first. Her face tightened. She looked smaller somehow, less confident without her smile. "What did you do?" she hissed, stepping toward me. "I didn't stop walking. I protected Grandma." My dad stood near the front door, arms crossed. His jaw was tight, his eyes sharp. "You've made a mess," he said. "No," I replied. "I exposed one." He opened his mouth to argue, but a police officer stepped between us gently. "Ma'am," the officer said to me, "your grandmother is inside. She's in the living room." I nodded. "Thank you." As I walked in, the house felt strange, quiet, empty of joy. The decorations were still there, but now they looked fake, like costumes after a play had ended. Grandma sat on the couch, wrapped in her shawl. When she saw me, her face lit up. "There you are," she said. "I was wondering where you went." I knelt in front of her and took her hands. "I'm here now." She looked confused for a moment, then serious. "They said you were upset." "I was worried," I said gently. "About you." She frowned. "Why?" I glanced at the officer, who nodded slightly. "Grandma," I said, "do you remember signing some papers today?" She thought for a moment. "I remember holding a pen," she said slowly. "Your sister told me it was nothing important." My heart ached. "Did anyone explain what the papers were for?" I asked. She shook her head. They said it was to help me. I like help. I swallowed hard. Do you remember what you agreed to? No, she admitted. I don't remember. The officer stepped in calmly. That's okay, ma'am. That's why we're here. Grandma looked up at him. Am I in trouble? No, he said kindly. You're safe. I felt tears sting my eyes. I held Grandma's hand tighter. My sister stood nearby, arms folded, her face stiff. My dad hovered behind her, silent now. The officer asked Grandma a few more questions. Simple ones. Where she lived, who helped her with money, who she trusted. Each answer was careful, honest, confused. Then the officer turned to my sister and dad. These documents, he said, holding up the yellow folder. Transfer authority over finances and property. My sister opened her mouth. We were just trying to help. You can explain later, the officer said gently. Right now, what matters is that your mother did not fully understand what she was signing. The room was very quiet. My dad finally spoke. We take care of her, he said. She needs us. She needs honesty, I said. My voice surprised even me. It was calm, strong, and respect. He looked at me like he didn't recognize me. The officers explained what would happen next. The documents would not be enforced. A review would be done. Grandma would be given time and support to make decisions with full understanding. Someone neutral, just like my husband said. Later, when the officers were done and the guests had left, Grandma rested her head against the couch. I'm tired, she said. I'll stay with you tonight, I said at once. She smiled. That would be nice, my sister scoffed. You think you know better now? I turned to her. I think Grandma deserves better. My dad didn't say a word. That night, after Grandma fell asleep, I sat alone in the quiet house. The decorations were still up, but they no longer mattered. My phone buzzed. A message from my husband, waiting outside. I'm proud of you. I smiled through tears. The next morning, sunlight filled the living room. Grandma drank her tea slowly, watching birds outside the window. You know, she said suddenly, I'm glad you called those officers. I looked at her. You are? She nodded. People forget I'm still here, still thinking, even when I forget things. I held her hand. I won't forget, she squeezed back. I know. Later, my dad tried to talk to me. He said words like misunderstanding and good intentions. I listened, but I didn't apologize. Some lines, once seen, cannot be unseen. My sister avoided me. That hurt, but not as much as I thought it would. Some silence is earned. When we finally left that afternoon, Grandma hugged me tightly. Thank you for seeing me, she whispered. As I walked away, I realized something important. Family isn't who hosts the party. Family isn't who looks good in front of others. Family is who stands up when something is wrong, even when it's hard. That night, I lay in bed beside my husband, listening to the quiet. You did something brave, he said. I did something necessary, I replied. And for the first time in a long time, I slept without fear, because I had chosen to protect the truth. Thank you so much for watching this story all the way to the end. Your time, your attention, and your support mean more than you know. Stories like this exist because people like you choose to listen, reflect, and feel. If this story moved you, surprised you, or made you think, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing helps support the channel and ensures you never miss another powerful story filled with suspense, emotional twists, and unforgettable moments. We bring you more interesting revenge stories, real-life-inspired dramas, family betrayals, shocking twists, and strong characters who rise when everything is against them. New stories are coming, and each one is crafted to keep you hooked from the first second to the last. Until next time, remember this: trust your instincts, protect the truth, and never underestimate the power of doing what's right. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next.